friends, in this video I'm going to show you guys how to do a basic balayage on long hair using a zigzag section. This is really great for as much or minimal dimension as you want. My sister-in-law's never had color, so it's going to be really fun. Just remember, this was done by a professional in a professional salon. I am licensed. So to start out this color, we actually have to touch up her roots first, because can you guys see that her roots are a little bit lighter than the rest of her hair? She basically has colored her hair black for a long time. So the first thing that I'm going to go in and do is just use some shades EQ. I'm using 5N with a little bit of 3N, and I'm just putting this on her root area. And this is just going to help to kind of blend that in, because she does like to be a little bit darker than her natural color. So once I've put that in, going from the top part of her hair down to the bottom, I'm just going to grab a section and kind of comb this through a little bit so it has a really nice soft transition into her previous color. Then I'm going to let that process for about 20 minutes. We will shampoo, condition, rinse that out, and then blow dry her hair. I like to have the hair blow dried when I do balayage because you can't really do it on wet hair. So go through and blow dry all the water out of her hair. Today I'm using the L'Oreal Blonde Studio, and I'm using 40 volume because she has had color in her hair for a very long time. So I'm going to use 40 volume as well as Olaplex, because we use Olaplex in every single color, especially with long hair when you want to save it from being damaged. So I'm going to start by doing zigzag pattern. Now I made this little kind of head guide for you guys. You guys can see that I'm not doing perfect sections. I'm kind of doing like a fish scale, or I am layering these sections on top of each other, and I'm using zigzag part lines. So if you guys can see up close, I used a zigzag part line because this is going to be a very soft balayage. I like this because if you're not going in for a full-blown crazy super heavy balayage, this is a really great option because it's going to blend it out even more. Then I'm going to lightly pack in some teasing, and I'm going to use a balayage board with foil on top of it. The reason why I like to do this is because it gives me a nice little kind of table underneath, and then I put the foil on top, and instead of doing free air balayage, I like to use foils because her hair is about a level 5. If I was to do open air balayage, it's not going to process as light as I want it to or as fast because it is an open air. The foil is going to trap some heat. So what I'm doing is I am taking my sections up on either side. I'm painting my V in on the sides, and then I'm also adding it to the middle. And then what I just used was the Redken Blur Brush. This thing is incredible for blending and making sure that you have a super soft, seamless look. Then I'm going to go in and just paint the ends, making sure that it is nice and saturated. I'm going to take the board out from underneath and then apply another foil on top of it, sandwiching them together. So this is going to trap some heat in there and just have the color come up nice and even. I'll show you guys once again. After I kind of lay this foil on top, I'm just going to go to the next section. So I'm going to work on the opposite side. I'm going to put in my zigzag part line, and then I'm going to clip the rest of the hair up and out of my way. I'm going to skim some hair off the top of this. How much you use is totally depending on how much color you're wanting to establish in the hair. So I'm going to tease a little bit of that up. Do very light teasing because guys, you're going to have to brush this out after. Then I'm going to apply my board and foil. So the board is underneath, the foil is on top, so that way the board's not getting dirty every single time. I'm going to start at the mid and then start to put on the balayage onto the higher part. So you guys can see I'm creating a V. So I'm going to put it on the sides of that V, or the sides of that hair, and I'm going to just slowly bring this up and kind of transition it down into that mid part. You want to make sure that you are establishing a very soft line but saturated on the sides, and then you go in with that blur brush and just kind of go right against that to kind of soften it so it doesn't have any harshness to it. I like to slide the board down a little bit further. The foil is going to stay in place, and then just really saturate those ends and make sure they're completely saturated all the way through. I'm going to cut another piece of my foil and then just sandwich this right on top, patting it down, and then I like to fold the little corners on the top and then fold the bottom so that it stays closed, and if I put it under the dryer or if I leave it open to air, I don't have to worry about the foils falling everywhere. So again, I'm just going to continue to do this and kind of going opposite sides, going up her head, and I'm going to lay my board down. I'm going to paint the very edges of my section, establish that mid part, apply my blur brush, go and coat the ends and then apply another foil on top. And this is how I do my basic balayage. I use this for a lot of clients. So now working towards the front, I'm gonna take kind of horizontal back or diagonal back partings, horizontal, diagonal back, there we go. I'm gonna be using a zigzag part. The reason why I'm doing this is because it's gonna fall away from her face and look really pretty and soft. I'm gonna establish my little section, add some tees, then I'm gonna put the foil on top of the board, and you guys can see here's another diagram of how I do this. I do a little bit less at an angle on the ear to kind of recession area, and then when I get to the top, I do it at a little bit more of an angle, which you guys will see. So when you guys are putting the balayage in the front, just know where you are putting that lightener, how far up you want it to go, how close you want it to go to the face, because this is a very visual process. So keep in mind when you rinse this out, where your lightness and darkness is going to be in your balayage. Then I'm gonna go back in with my blur brush and just soften that mid and top part. Take my board out from underneath, grab my awesome little foil cutter, pull out a foil. I love this foil cutter, guys, it's amazing. And then I'm just going to sandwich this right on top. So then I'll show you the top. So I'm kind of working in the top, going in a diagonal back, and I'm just going to start laying out these sections. I think I did about 3 or 4 foils on the top. So that just shows you how I do the top. Now this is my Framar foil cutter. You can cut your foil to any length. It's really amazing. And what's even more awesome is that it cuts it for you and folds it for you. This tool is amazing. Okay, so now you guys can see I've rinsed out all of her color after it processed, and now I'm going to tone. So I'm going to be using 8GN and 9T. We didn't pull her hair up super, super light because this is the first time she's ever had color other than dark. So I go in and let that saturate until I see the color that I want it to be. Then I rinse, shampoo, Olaplex, condition, all of that goodness. And now I'm applying some products to her hair to finish her style out. I'm using Evo's Shape Vixen, Easy Tiger, and then a little bit of Mr. Fantastic in her root area. If you guys want to see how I do her long layer haircut, I will link the video down below. It is awesome. Now I'm going to use my BioIonic Ultralight Blow Dryer, and I'm just going to blow dry her hair, give her some volume because her hair is super long and gorgeous. And then I'm just going to go in and use a round brush to smooth out her hair. I like to blow dry to about 80% dry before I round brush because it's less work and better for you as a hairstylist. So I go in and round brush. I like to use the BioIonic square round brushes. These are amazing for smoothing hair. If you've never tried these, guys, I thought they were kind of a joke when I first saw them, but they're truly amazing. Now I'm using the new Pro curling iron. This is a 1-inch, and I'm using it as a wand, just taking large sections and putting it around the curling iron. I decided that I wanted to kind of show you guys how I finish out her hair because sometimes you guys want to see that as well. So I'm just taking large sections and doing the curling iron around, or the curls around the curling iron, and now we're finished with this really gorgeous color. Now the light or darkness that you see in here totally depends on what your client wants, but this is such a gorgeous balayage because it looks very natural, comes out very seamless, and is kind of foolproof. So I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing how I balayage using foils, and if you guys want to see her haircut on how to do a long layered haircut, pretty easy to follow, check it out down in the description box below.